Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Celeste Mott, or Tarot by Celeste. I'm coming to you this week to bring you a pick a card reading based around your relationship. At the time of this filming, it is February 2020. We're about to hit Valentine's Day, and I thought what better way to celebrate than to do a little romance reading. If you are new to this channel and you haven't done a pick a card reading before on YouTube, here's how it works. I'm going to show you 3 stacks of cards. You're going to take a breath, clear your mind, and focus on the person you are in a connection with or would like a connection with. And then when you're ready, you're going to choose stack 1, stack 2, or stack 3. I'll put the timestamps in the description. You can click directly on those timestamps to go to your reading. Pick a card readings are general. They are not going to go into a whole lot of detail around your specific situation. That would be impossible. A lot of people ask me whether, general readings like this have value, and I really feel that they do. But bear in mind that it is more generalized advice, and if you want a little closer look at your specific situation, your best bet is to seek out a reader for a one-on-one session. The decks that I'm using today are the classic Rider-Waite-Smith deck, which you are probably already familiar with, and this beautiful deck by an independent artist from, I believe, Norway, called the Soul Cards Tarot. It's got this really lovely gilt edging, and the cards themselves are beautiful light pink color with gold foil. They're very sigil-like, very kind of Norse looking, honestly. They're obviously drawing inspiration from the Elder Futhark runes a little bit, things like that. So it's this very sort of geometric, abstract imagery. I use 2 decks because I really like watching how the cards talk to each other. At the point in time where you've shuffled 2 78 card decks and you get 2 of the same card, that's really the universe hammering home the point, right? So we're going to use 2 decks for this reading, both the Soul Card Tarot and the regular Rider-Waite-Smith, and without further ado, let's get into it. All right, stack 1. Let's look at what you have going on in this relationship. You are in the fortunate position of having 2 of the same card come up. And as I said before, when you're looking at 2 very well shuffled decks, 78 cards in each, it's pretty statistically improbable to have 2 of the same card pop out. So the universe is really hammering home this point. The 2 cards that you pulled up that are the same are the 9 of Wands. There it is in the Soul Card Tarot. Here it is in the Rider-Waite-Smith. And your other card is the 10 of Pentacles. Now, we'll talk about the 9 of Wands first because that is the card that came up the same twice. The 9 of Wands is perhaps not a card that we would hope to see in a relationship reading, because it can indicate a sense of being overwhelmed, stressed out, and kind of not in a space where you're able to take on anything further. Wands are not really cards of emotion. They really deal with our passions and our path and our drives. They're a little bit more sort of spiritual almost than cup cards, which we associate with connectivity and emotions. So I don't feel like this person is necessarily overwhelmed by you or by the relationship, but they have so much going on in their life right now that there isn't a lot of space to consider how they maybe want to progress with your connection or what they want to work on within the relationship. So that's kind of a bummer. It does indicate that things will move more slowly for the next, couple of months probably as you decide how you want to focus on the relationship. If this is a new connection that you're hoping to foster, my guess is that it might not gain a lot of traction in the next couple of months. You might even find that this person sort of drops you a little bit. But don't take that personally. I don't think that's because they don't have feelings for you. I think it's because they're just super, super overwhelmed. The 10 of Pentacles is part of the reason that I think this is not the death knell for this relationship and it's not the end of the world. Pentacles are not cards that we typically associate with love and romance. They typically deal with, the material world. They deal with finance. They deal with your house, your body, your health, anything that has material value. But they're cards that I love seeing for relationship readings because it indicates that this person wants to add to your life. Pentacles are the earth element in the tarot. So they deal with what's concrete, what's real, what's grounded. And so I like seeing the Ten of Pentacles because certainly in terms of what this person would like to add to your life, there's a real desire to provide for you, to be there for you, to grow the connection into something that has longevity and long-term meaning. Sometimes people will associate the Ten of Pentacles with family and with building a future with somebody. So the desire is there. It's just that the space in this person's life does not currently allow for them to show up in the ways that maybe they would like to show up. So try not to take it personally. It's really, really hard when you have feelings for someone and you care about someone and it doesn't seem like they have the space or the time for you. But it so is not personal. This person wishes they could be what you need them to be. They just can't at this moment. Stack 2. Let's talk about your cards. You are my you're my wild card group, y'all. You're the card group that's going to get a serious talking to. Your first card is the Emperor. Followed by the Queen of Wands in reverse. Followed by the Seven of Pentacles. I'm gonna be real with you guys. I really don't like the Emperor as a card. And I particularly don't like it when it describes a relationship. Because the Emperor is kind of the control freak card of the tarot. It's the King of Kings. It represents people who are a tiny bit narcissistic, sometimes even a bit sociopathic. The ego of the Emperor is off the chain. He really is this figure of power and authority and domination. However, I'm going to try and not bring my personal bias to this reading, and I'm just going to tell you what I think this means for your relationship. The Emperor indicates that this person really wants to be in a position of control over you. They like to be in a position of power. They like to call the shots. And if you're somebody who likes that in a relationship, you kind of like to take a little bit of a backseat and have the other person provide and make the decisions, then the Emperor could be a great thing for you. For me personally, especially paired with that Queen of Wands in reverse, I find this to be a little bit of a red flag. The Queen of Wands in reverse sees your relationship to yourself sort of diminished by this dynamic. What I mean by that is the Queen of Wands, when she's upright, talks about having control and balance and agency over your own passions, your own desires, and your own path. She's a very empowered card. She's a very creative card. So when we see the Queen of Wands in reverse, it's because this person does not really prioritize your personal goals. It's not to say that they don't want good things for you. It's just that that's not their priority. When it comes to the decisions they're going to make about your collective lives together, what they want and what their goals are is always going to matter more. And that's fine if the two of you are in alignment. If what this person wants from their life is kind of the same thing that you want, then that's fine. You know, they're going to aggressively pursue that because people who come up as the Emperor in readings often have a great deal of influence and clout. And, you know, typically they're very successful people. So if you are on the same page as this person and you have the same overall life goals, nothing wrong with having the Queen of Wands in reverse. But if that life path differs at all, if the things that you want from your life personally are very, very different to this person's goals, then this is not going to work. They are not going to support you to pursue your dreams. They are not going to go out of their way to help you out. It really is their way or the highway. Now, the slightly wild card in all of this is the Seven of Pentacles, because the Seven of Pentacles is a card of patience and investment. So despite the fact that this person likes to be in control, despite the fact that they don't really care too much about what your dreams and passions are, they are still willing to invest in you. Now, typically we associate pentacles with money and with material gain. So that investment is most likely to be throwing material resources at whatever it is you desire. For example, as you go down the road with this person and you form a relationship, or if you already have a committed relationship, as you get further along that path, this person is much more likely to give you money or give you resources than they are to give you emotional vulnerability, emotional support, or time and energy. So again, if that works for you, if that's something that you can tolerate and in fact you think you could benefit from, I say go for it. But be aware that this is not someone who's good with vulnerability. It's not somebody who's good at being humble. They're probably not great at conflict resolution or empathy. So if those are things that are important to you, this is not a relationship that's going to work. All right, stack 3. Let's look at your cards. Your first card from the Soul Card Tarot is Judgment. And your Rider-Waite-Smith cards are the 8 of Pentacles and the 5 of Swords. So let's talk about Judgment. Judgment is one of the more commonly misunderstood major arcana cards in the tarot, and I think part of that is we really associate the word judgment with some quite negative connotations. It's a very loaded term. We tend to think of the justice system, and we tend to think of, judging other people on their looks or on their, on something superficial. It has that sort of connotation to it. But really, judgment is about transcendence. The imagery in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, at least, comes from the book of Revelation, and it's this idea of letting go of the things that aren't working, letting go of the things that are meaningless or damaging to us, and being able to move on to the next level, to evolve. And so I think when we're talking about a relationship, Judgment is actually a great card to see. It indicates that whatever you and this person have been through in the past, whatever garbage you might have had to endure together, or whatever nonsense has happened between the two of you, it's all kind of water under the bridge at this point. This person wants to move on with the relationship. They want to grow together. They want to leave behind the toxicity and to change and evolve. And I think that's a beautiful thing for this relationship. The 8 of Pentacles is great to see here as well. As I've said in other stacks during this reading, Pentacles are wonderful to see in relationship readings because they indicate a desire to add value to each other's lives. There's a grounded nature to Pentacle cards. There's this sense of wanting to provide, wanting to go the extra mile, wanting to invest. And so the 8 of Pentacles, as the card of mastery or diligence, shows that this person really wants to work on the relationship. This is not somebody who expects problems to just fix themselves. They're actually finally ready to put in that legwork and to do what is necessary to prove to you that they can show up, that they can provide, that they can participate in the relationship in a meaningful way, and probably that they are willing to sort of add material value to your life. This is great for relationships that maybe have felt a little bit unstable or unequal in the past, relationships where you've put in more effort or you've paid for more things or you've been the one who's kind of carrying the burden of day-to-day life. This person is finally ready to put that work in, which is wonderful. The one thing I will say about the 8 of Pentacles is it does sometimes involve hyper-focus on the immediate problems or the immediate task at hand and a lack of ability to see the bigger picture. Now, what I mean by that for this relationship is that you might need to take a step back and ask yourself, have I been validating this person? Have I been expressing to this person what they mean to me and how they impact my life in a positive way? Because when people in that 8 of Pentacles mindset don't have validation, they struggle to understand what the relationship is, what the relationship means, and where it's headed. They can do the work and they can bust their ass to invest in you, but if you're not saying, hey, I appreciate that, or hey, this is how the work you've done has made a positive change in my life, then they may get disheartened and they may kind of give up. So just make sure the lines of communication are open in this relationship. Make sure you're allowing this person to see the bigger picture. Make sure you're planning together how this relationship will grow and where it's headed. Because once this person starts feeling like they don't know what they're working for, or they don't know what you're building together, they may start freaking out a little bit and back off or even tap out entirely. If you don't want that to happen, you need to come to the table and have those discussions with them. This goes hand in hand with the Five of Swords as well, which talks about having uncomfortable conversations, speaking the truth regardless of how it might sting or how it might go over with the other people involved. The Five of Swords makes me wonder if this relationship for you is complicated, if there are other people involved, if there are some things in the past that you need to come clean about or the other person needs to come clean about, because the swords typically in the tarot talk about truth. They talk about facts. And so something is going on here where something hasn't been discussed, something hasn't been brought to light, some people are still in the dark. And they're being kept in the dark because whatever there is to say, whatever there is to voice, might be hurtful. It might cause some friction or some schism. So I would say, if this is coming from your side of the table, if there are things that you need to come clean about or open up to with this person or with other people involved, the time is now. You know, this person wants this relationship to work. They want it to evolve. They want a connection with you. But that can't happen if you're not coming from a place of honesty and if you're not showing them how they are meaningful to you. So there's a little bit of work for you to do, and there may be some coming clean that this other person has to do as well. Once the dust settles, there is so much potential here for this relationship. So I hope that was helpful, everybody. I really wish you the best for your relationships this coming month and indeed this year. I hope that whoever you are craving a connection with or wanting to grow a connection with, you can move forward with that in a way that is healthy and productive and in a space of expansion and growth for both of you. If you're interested in the work that I do, I have a website, celestemott.com. I also have a Patreon account where I do special blog posts on different witchy and spiritual subjects. I do astrology, tarot scopes and horoscopes, and all sorts of other bonus content. That Patreon account is also linked in the description, along with my website and my Instagram account, where I do fresh content every day. I really appreciate you watching the video. Please let me know what you think in the comments, and good luck with your relationships. All the best.